they're still the wily old dogs who know to play the long game. And do you think that it's just their pace, or do you think that they're able to find the line, or how do you think they're able to stay there so long when you see Rónán he literally said he was either going to win or end up in an ambulance. So it's so different.
Well,
so different.
I've got a few like bullet points that I wouldn't want to like get through an awesome conversation and not touch on them. And you've opened up a can of worms. There's a few there, but to that point, like, where is the sport? If you've got a youngster, is he just saying it? But it seems like it's what he believes. He says, I saw the pace, I saw the times, I don't normally look at them, and I was either going home in a helicopter, and I quote this, or I was going to win. Now, I haven't heard that a lot before. I've heard, I was really going to throw caution to the wind, and I knew I had to attack, and all these different things that the riders psych themselves up with. And it has moved on a little bit. And that's insane. Like, if you've got a rider with that much raw speed and willing to throw that sort of aggression at a race run, I mean, I don't think Loic's saying I'm going to go home in a helicopter. He's saying, okay, I'm going to go 100%, and he's going to choose where to do that. So that's like, I literally wrote that down, and I was like, I've never heard that before.
No, he had real firm belief in himself, Rónán, and it was his sort of track as well. It was very fast, and there were these long corners. There were quite a few long corners on that track, and that was, I don't know whether that necessarily helps one rider over another, but if you can carry speed into them and carry speed through them, that there were some key corners on the track where it sort of went across a long piste. There was 2 sections where there was a technical corner and then quite a long flat piste. Then it went back into the woods and had the same again. And you just knew that if there was a mistake on that corner, all your pace would have been gone. And in the women's race, Miriam crashed there and Gracie crashed there in the same section in this sort of one small wood section. And there was just no coming back from that. And it's a real shame when you see something like that. But also you can see the potential of these riders that are pushing on, because when you sort of see an over the bars crash, but their time was the same time as qualifying, you're like, whoa, they found more time. They found probably 10 seconds. You know, if you're tangled up in your bike upside down, there's probably 10 seconds there. So, yeah.
Yeah, that seemed one of the keys, right? So watching Dunne's GoPro run was just fascinating. And there's a few sections, and he mentioned it, like he would want to touch the brakes there, but decided not to. So your instincts are telling you, okay, a little brake tap. And I mean, there's a few trees, like you say, there's these long, fast corners, and the exit has a padded tree. I mean, if you get that wrong, you're going to want to naturally brake or kind of be like, okay, I've got enough exit speed here. But to win these days, he's saying, okay, normally I have to brake, but today I'm just not going to brake and see where it gets me. And that's sort of a key, because he's carrying a lot of exit speed. And he was obviously incredible at carrying speed at the right time into those pedaly sections. And he swore at himself in the pedaling section. He's like, F, pedal. You know, he's actually telling himself, like he dug deep in that run. And I think you asked the question, what are these old dogs doing? I mean, they clearly have as much pace. But to do it where you have to get to this level of, you know, taking the brain out and just saying, well, I'm not braking, that's really impressive. But I think it shows to their experience and their just speed. Loic has the speed, clearly. And he's just such a methodical racer. He's going to brake at the exact perfect time to get the exit speed. You know, he had a really good run down the bottom. And that's where someone like, you know, which we'll get to, is, you know, Lachlan had the fastest third split, or till the third split, right? And he came undone in what you would argue is a really simple section. And to me, that's a little bit of inexperience. And the reason I say that is he was offline there, and that's where you should be so focused to be on the right line. And there, even if you touch the brakes a bit more, there's such a crucial section coming up. But he'd come in so hot, and he was a little bit inside coming in, and then he ran it wide and he lost the front. So that's like the difference between experience and inexperience in my mind.
Yeah.
But on that subject, for someone like that to go quali well, back it up in semis, and then in the final, he was not going to just get down and get a top 10 or, you know, I'm really, really impressed that a guy like that, with that much pressure, said, you know what, caution to the wind, I'm going out. Check it. He rode so committed. And I think that's the most impressive thing, and he should take away from this. It's not a crash in a final. It's like he wanted it, and he tried. He didn't get tight. He didn't have a good run and go, I rode a bit tight, and I was obviously nervous, and I got 13th,
Yeah, he was one of the standout riders of the weekend, and such an exciting rider. And he's changed a lot since last year. He's really matured in his approach, and he's really sort of zoned in and being more methodical. The questions he comes out with are so different from last year. So you can see how he's reflecting on himself, on improving, and having a bit more self-confidence. He's really good friends with Ollie Davis. They're traveling to Leogang and Schladming in a van together and hanging out for the next couple of weeks. And they were in Dovey last week. I saw those guys last week in Dovey, and they're having a great time riding their bikes. And if you've got a friend that has just got signed to the syndicate, is riding at the top of their game, and you're his buddy and you ride on his back wheel all day long, that's going to breed a certain amount of confidence, knowing if I just ride like myself, I'll be fine. And what really excited me from being in that finish area, watching his run especially play out, was he crossed the line and he had a smile on his face. He was like, I can do this. And it wasn't a case of, just as you referred to really earlier, not being able to deliver on the day in terms of clamming up, riding tight, sort of notching out a corner. He rode with flair. And the section where he crashed, everyone was saying it felt like they were riding a tightrope to get onto those bridges. They were really narrow, and just to be that little bit offline and coming in with a bit more speed than he probably has done just made the difference, and he just went down. But I'd say that was one of the key corners. In the semi-final, you saw Dakota lose a load of time, and he tried to cut that corner tight, but he didn't, the right-hander onto the sort of completely flat straight. But there was a wider line that had opened up, and you can almost hop over these two tree roots and give you a bit of a backside. And that's where maybe you have to, maybe trackside support helps, those people, because I don't know whether he'd seen that or he made a change because of it. But these little things, when you're on the ground watching rider after rider, that little bit of entry speed onto a very fast flat section, it's probably half a bike length. And nowadays, that's what wins or loses the race.